hope is that we all get it. Don't give in to the pain, just keep living, cause
got dreams I'm striving for. So I'm gonna live higher. I'm gonna live higher. I got dreams I'm striving.
What's going on, guys? I'm super excited. Today I have Theo from the Virginia market. Let me give you guys a little bit of backstory. So I actually never met Theo. We both went to an event. Actually, he has a shirt on to the event we went. It was Wholesaling Elite Live. This was back in October, and so it was a good event. It was hosted by Max Maxwell. Good dude, great event. And in that event, Max told us we should all start our own accountability group, right? Which was a great idea, even though I already had that idea coming into the event. But so I went ahead and so what happened was we do have this app where we can network with each other through that app. And then I posted that I wanted to start our own, my own accountability group. And then I got a lot of responses. Theo was one of them. It's pretty funny when I look back now. So I posted that in the app, got about 20 responses. I told them this is where you got to go. Out of those 20 people, only 10 responded. Theo was one of them. Out of those 10, people never posted in the group that I created. So now it's down to like what, 6?
Yep.
Yeah, so 6. So it shows that people say it just shows that people don't always follow through all the way through. They say they're about this or they're interested and they never follow through. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. But so anyway, so I created that group, and then I kind of transitioned over that to a WhatsApp chat. So that way we can communicate a lot faster. We can share tips. Theo's never done his first deal until recently, and that's essentially what we're going to talk about. But I wanted to really bring him on just to kind of talk about what made him get into real estate, talk about his first deal, and the importance of having an accountability group. I think that's a big thing, especially now because, the entrepreneur world and the real estate world, it can get lonely, and it's good to have somebody that can kind of hold you accountable and always keep you in the loop with questions and answers and things like that. But I know that was a long intro, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little backstory. So thank you for being on my channel here, Theo, and give me a little bit about yourself and kind of what made you get into real estate.
Okay. Yeah. Well, first, I appreciate you having me, man. This is one of my first videos I ever did, man. I see a lot of videos on YouTube, and so I appreciate you for that. I'm originally from Long Island, New York, but actually joined the military right out of high school, joined in about 2010. So that's what got me into this market here in Virginia Beach. So like I said, joined in 2010, recently got out probably about 2 years ago, 2017. So at that time, from 2017 to now, I was trying to kind of figure out what I wanted to do outside of the military. So I ended up going to school for a little bit, community college, for I'd say about 2 semesters. And in that time frame, I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. My main goal was just to go to school, kind of get a good job. In the military, I was at IT, so I wanted to go to school for IT and maybe get like a corporate job that's paying well and things like that. So yeah, ended up doing that. Between that time frame, I actually ended up joining a company called World Financial Group, and that company right there kind of got me in the entrepreneurial mindset. Because being in America, you gotta the one way you're gonna get ahead is becoming a business owner, right? So that kind of got me in that mindset right there, becoming a business owner. And long story short, we actually are going to a conference in Vegas, and Grant Cardone was actually one of the speakers there. And I'd never seen him before in my life. Didn't know who he was, but I noticed on one of his on his intro it had like real estate mogul or something like that, some of that nature. Him in the real estate. So I kind of like that kind of drew my attention, right? So came back from the conference, started looking up different ways to invest into real estate. one of my main goals was kind of getting some rentals, buy and hold and things like that. And then I wanted to get into maybe fix and flipping, right? But like most people getting into real estate, you think you need money, and yeah, I didn't have any money at the time, so actually that kind of got me digging in a little bit deeper into to real estate. Started looking at YouTube videos and found a video on wholesaling, right? So that kind of drew my attention. Kind of look into it a little bit more, and then I ended up reading a book called Flip by Nick Ruiz. I don't know if you ever read that book. It's a good book about wholesaling. And then after I read that book, started looking into it a little bit more. Kind of stumbled upon Max Maxwell's videos, and after that, just started taking action. So that's a little bit of background about me.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think the biggest misconceptions about real estate. Number one, you need credit, right? You need to use your own credit, and you need to have money to buy the property, then fix it, and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like me. Like I went into there has to be a way where you can limit the money you come up front with and still be able to make a profit. And
yeah, most definitely.
Some of the pound wholesaling. So after you went to, you stumbled upon Max's videos, and then what kind of led you? So obviously you went to the event. Did you watch all his videos? Were you watching other people's videos? What kind of led you to go to his event and go from there?
Yeah. So I was watching mostly his videos. I stumbled upon other people's videos. Like I know I was following Brian Rigbu for a little bit. A couple of Carlos Reyes and his team. Following some of his videos. It's just a lot of videos everywhere about wholesaling. So you're trying to figure out which one to follow. And then I just started going heavy with Max. Started following him on Instagram. Kind of joined his Facebook group, and from there he put out that he was doing a conference in October. So I ended up signing up for that, and then ended up going.
Yeah, it was a great event. So let's talk about that deal you just recently closed. Let's talk about how you got the lead. Kind of take us from start to finish. That way, people who've never closed a deal before can kind of see it all the way through from A to Z. Break it down, how you were able to find it, how you were able to find the buyer. If there were any issues in between, break that all down.
Okay, yeah. So I'm kind of like I guess you could say I'm an introvert type of guy. I don't like conversating with people too much. Kind of stay to myself. So after following Max Maxwell videos and things like that, he talked about putting out bandit signs and cold calling, and I followed some other people's videos, and they talked about direct mail and things. So I started. I would say I started taking action probably around June. I sent some direct mail out. Didn't really get any hits on that. Put some bandit signs out as well. Didn't really get any hits on that. So kind of back in my mind, I knew the only way I can get a deal is through cold calling. I was terrified of that. I was really, really nervous. Didn't want to do it. So I ended up going to Max's conference, and one of my big takeaways from that conference was just getting on the phone and just getting on the phone with the seller directly, right, instead of direct mail and things like that. So I watched the video that Max put out about how to find the hottest zip codes in the area using the listsource.com. So I did that, and one of the hottest zip codes around my area was a city called Portsmouth. So I ended up one Saturday just spending about 2-3 hours in that zip code, just driving for dollars actually. So I went there, maybe picked up maybe 20 to 30 properties. And from there I ended up skip tracing those properties. I believe to skip trace, I use needtoskip.com, either Need to Skip or REI Skip, because I know Max, that's what Max uses.
Right.
So I ended up using one of those. So I skipped the list, got it back. I was really sitting on that list, man, for a good 2 to 3 weeks, man, because I was just trying to
Yeah, process it all, like how I'm gonna call these people,
yeah.
what I'm gonna say. I get it.
Exactly, man. I was like, but I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to do it. I was just that fear of getting on the phone, which was I know a lot of people go through. But yeah, ended up like I said, sitting on it for 2 or 3 weeks, and ended up going to that conference. And like I said, the cold calling, Max touched heavy on the cold calling, and I believe it was like that Saturday after I went to the conference. I just kind of told myself that I'm gonna get this done. Kind of locked myself in a room for maybe like 3 hours and just kind of mustered up enough confidence to get on the phone and call. So I ended up calling the list, the Driving for Dollars list. It was other numbers as well because I actually got a list from ListSource as well. So I kind of combined the two, but that lead I got from my deal from was from Driving for Dollars. But yeah, maybe about 50 to 60 calls in, I actually talked to the seller that wanted to sell their home. And those 50 to 60 calls in, it was just a lot of no's. Either I got a no or a lot of voicemail. So, or the phone was disconnected, things of that such. So when I called the lady, asked her if she wanted to sell, she said yeah, and I was like, it kind of threw me off a little bit because that was my first yes. So I'm like, okay, what to do now? So I started going through like the qualifying questions, like what she wanted for the house, condition, and things of that nature. But my main focus was kind of get that appointment set. So I ended up getting an appointment set.
So let me jump in here. So when you ask these pre-qualifying questions, when you asked her, like, what did she want for the property? Why did she want to sell? What did she say to that? Like, what was the situation? What was the situation?
Yeah, so she wanted to sell because that property was a vacant actually. When I found it was all boarded up and everything like that. So it was vacant at the moment. She was actually sick at the moment. So she couldn't keep up with the house. It's been vacant. It was vacant for probably, she said, about 6 or 7 months. So she had to move like an hour away to kind of get better. She was going blind in her left eye, and just other things medically that she had to take care of, which led to her not being able to take care of that property.
Right. Okay. And then what happened after you set the appointment? Walk us through that.
Yeah, so I set the appointment for the following week on Sunday. Went there, checked it out. It was in bad condition. It was in bad shape. Needed a lot of work. It was built in like 1890, so it wasn't the best property. It wasn't in the best area either. But yeah, went there. Crazy thing, man. I was just like learning. I was learning as I was going, man, because I had maybe 2 hours before I was kind of jumbling through trying to find a good contract to bring to the appointment. I know I've seen a lot of videos. They say try to get that contract right then and there when you go check it out. So I was looking at contracts, trying to figure out if she had any questions about the contract, what to say at this point, stuff like that. So I was just real nervous, man. So I went on the appointment nervous. Try to build as much rapport as I can with her as I was going through the appointment. And then at that time, I kind of asked her, like, what's the lowest she'll take for the property? And she said $10K. So at that point, I was like, okay, cool. So I kind of did my research before that. The ARV was around like 140. In my knowledge, it was around like 140.
Yeah, right.
She said she'd take $10K for it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So yeah, man, I was so nervous, man. I didn't even ask for the close. I didn't even go for the close like right there, man.
You didn't like counter, like you didn't say, "Oh, I'll give you 7,000" or whatever the case.
No, I didn't do any.
What'd you say after she said, "Give me 10K"?
After she said she'd take 10K, I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna talk it over with my partner and get back with you. I know that that's a mistake right there because you're supposed to get
Close
that
right
deal.
then and there, yeah.
Supposed to close right then and there, man. But I was just so nervous, man. I didn't really know what I was doing, man. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk it over with my partner, kind of get the numbers situated, and then I'll give you a call back next day. So I ended up giving her a call the next day and set it up. Offered her 10K for the property. So offered her 10K for the property. Ended up meeting her the next day and got the contract signed for 10K.
Let me. So here's what proves that situation proves something. And I always say this, and I'm gonna excuse my language, but you can't fuck up a motivated seller. You know, someone
Yeah.
who's motivated, you can't fuck that up. You know,
That's
if you're dealing with them and they're truly motivated, it's very, very unlikely you're gonna fuck that up. You know, like she could have called somebody else. You know, but you went there first. She kind of built that rapport. She was motivated. She needed to sell. She didn't want to sell. You can't mess that up. So, you know, it's just. I know a lot of people. It can be scary. It can be overwhelming. But just understand, like, if you have a truly motivated seller in front of you, you can't fuck that up. So I just wanted to point that out there.
Yeah. So
once you got the contract, what happened next?
so I got the contract. Then after I got the contract, I was kind of
You were like, what the hell do I do now?
yeah, exactly. So I was kind of trying to figure out if I wanted to put it out to my buyers, or if I wanted to set up a title company to get the title search taken care of. So I ended up taking about 2 days to kind of asking different wholesalers around the area what title company that they recommend. So I ended up going with an attorney. To close the deal. So after that, after I got the contract, those next 2 days, I kind of was nervous of how I was going to figure out how to get this closed, or what title company to go to, things like that. So when I'm doing that, figured out that aspect, took it to the title company. And after that, kind of I was trying to figure out how to get it out to my buyers, right? I know a lot of people say they email, or they call or text blast, things like that. I really didn't have any numbers. I had all emails, so I ended up actually emailing the property to my buyers, probably about 30 of them. So I put it out for, since the ARV was like 140. Estimated repairs, in my estimate, was probably about 50 to 55K with repairs. So I put it out at 26K. So I kind of try to go for the home run, because you see a lot of people with their first deal getting those checks of 15K, 20K, and things like that. So I kind of try to go for the home run, but I put it out for 26, and I got no response from it. No response at all.
Now you were probably like, oh shit, now what?
Yeah. I was like, okay, cool. So I put it out, no response. Then I ended up putting it on Craigslist for the same amount. Didn't get any response either. So then I put it on Facebook Marketplace as well for 26. Actually got a guy that wanted to come check it out. So he checked it out the next day, and said he was interested. So I was like, okay, cool. And then he asked me if the title was good. So the title at that time didn't come back yet. So he said, when the title comes back, hit him up. So I should have knew right there he wasn't as serious as he said he was. So I was like, okay. So I ended up continuing marketing it out, mainly on Facebook Marketplace. I would put it out maybe 4 to 5 times on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist as well. Towards that time, man, I would get a lot of people that hit me up, say they're interested. They'll go check it out. Either when they checked it out, they wouldn't hit me back because I guess the area or whatever.
Right.
Or they'll offer me lower than what I asked for.
Right.
So that I say that went on for a good maybe two weeks, I would say.
Right.
Actually, I got the property on the contract for like 45 days, so I still had a little bit of time. Um, so then after I put it out for 26, I lowered it down to maybe I say about 20K. Still had some people hit me up about it, but wanted to offer me lower. So that wasn't really getting anywhere. So then I ended up putting it out for 15K. Um, and then people, like I said, buyers will go look at it, check it out, and then they offer me lower, or they just say they wasn't interested. I guess the area that the property was in, it um, wasn't that good of an area, I'm
Right.
guessing.
Was it
So
like in the hood or was it?
uh, I mean, it was, but it wasn't. There was actually a couple of renovated properties in that neighborhood.
Oh,
But
okay.
there were a lot of like people hanging around
Development.
outside of the property, so it was like a bunch of squatters and things like that. So people just weren't interested. So yeah, long story short, I was coming up to the end of the contract. Um, so I was just kind of nervous, kind of figuring out what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna get this property off my hands, because I didn't want to really go back to the seller and kind of tell her that I couldn't get the job done or renegotiate the price, but that's what I was gonna have to do, because a lot of people were offering lower than what the contract was. It was
Right.
offering lower than 10K. So I went back to the seller maybe couple days before the contract was over. Went back to her and tried to renegotiate, but she was stuck on that 10K price, man. It's like she wouldn't budge. I don't know if I really don't know why. Maybe I didn't build enough rapport with her, or I really don't know why. I tried to explain to her that the repairs were um, needed a little bit more than what we estimated, things like that. But she just said, "No, I'm not going lower than 10K." So I was like, "Okay, let me get an extra 30 days to kind of get this taken care of." So she ended up extending the contract. Extending the contract for 30 days. So at that time, when I put it back out, I'm using a Facebook Marketplace,
Right. Right.
and kind of using every aspect to get this property off my hands. I would call like different uh, people that maybe use properties around the area to rent.
Right.
I called them people, see if they're interested, but nobody was ever interested. So I ended up putting the property out for 13K um, on Craigslist. Um, Still doing the same thing. People go take a look at it, and then get back to me, say they're not interested or for lower. Um, so I would say maybe halfway, maybe I have maybe like 15 days left on my contract. Um, and like that Sunday, I had a offer come in um, for 13K. So
Okay.
I had it on the contract for 10, and offer came in at 13K. So we ended up closing um, that week, that Friday.
Okay.
That offer came in on Sunday. Yeah,
Did you so that buyer came from Craigslist?
yeah. That buyer came from Craigslist. Yep.
And did you collect EMD from that buyer?
I did. I collected 1K.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for the people, you gotta understand, these people, these buyers need to have skin in the game, right? You don't want buyers to be wasting your time. So you should request. It'll tell you right then and there if they're serious, right? If they're committed, you got to request that EMD non-refundable. That way,
Yeah.
they have some skin in the game. If they back out, they know that they're gonna lose that EMD. And then, so a couple things that you guys might have missed. So Theo didn't really know, for lack of a better word, he didn't know all the steps, right? Because he'd never done all the steps. But he just did steps 1 and 2. And then when step 3 was coming, he figured it out. He was learning as he was going. He didn't worry about step 10. He was worried about, okay, what do I do next? Let me get the contract. What do I do now? I need to go to the title company. What do I do now? I need to market for buyers. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I think a lot of people get stuck, and I was one of them. You get stuck in this analysis paralysis, overthinking like, oh, what should, I don't know step 6 and 7, I can't get started. Like that holds people back from even getting started. So it's good that you kind of just like, you know what, this is something I need to do, and you were able to do that. So
Yeah. One thing I wanted to put out too is people think that you get the property under contract and then right after that, like you don't have to negotiate anymore. Everything's good to go because
right,
you still gotta negotiate with the buyers as well,
right.
right? A lot of people don't know that. So like I said, people were offering lower than
The contract is.
what I put the contract out for. So it's just constant negotiation. So get your negotiation skills up as well.
What were they offering? 7, 6?
Yeah. So around 7, and then I had another one come in around 85. So right then I was trying to get the contract lower to about 6, so I can kind of at least make close to 1,000 or 1,500 off of it. But
Right. Yeah, and she was not bugging, huh?
nah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When you go back to selling, you try to renegotiate. One of the things I like to say is, I got good news and I got bad news. The good news, we're ready to close. The bad news is, the repair costs ended up being more than what we expected. Can you meet me halfway? I know we said 10, but can you do 6? If they say no, okay, I can meet you halfway, 7,500 or whatever the case is. You can make an extra 1,500, $2,000 if you're able to lower, like that 10K. You could have been like, I'll do 5, and she said hell no. But can you meet me in the middle, 7,500? You could have made an extra 2,500 on that. Little things like that. So what marketing are you doing now since you closed that deal? What kind of things are you doing?
I'm still driving for dollars, man. That's one of my favorite things to do, drive for dollars and cold call right now.
Yeah.
I'm started using a deal machine a little bit more, taking pictures of the property and sending out postcards, kind of keep that consistency going.
Yeah.
But mainly driving for dollars and cold calling.
Nice. We gotta get Nikki, Jojo, and I think his name is Robert. We gotta get them to
Rob. Yeah.
Rob. But any advice you would give to someone who is a newbie, someone who hasn't closed their first deal, from your experience, all the lessons you learned, some of the mistakes you made, and some of the things you wish you could have done differently, now that you've kind of gone all the way through?
Yeah, just take excuse me, take that action. Go ahead and do that cold calling. I would say cold calling is kind of the best way to go if you're starting off, because you kind of get used to talking to sellers, kind of get used to the objections that they give you, kind of mirroring the seller and things like that. So I'll say get cold calling. Another thing is if you do get a deal on a contract and you shoot it out to buyers and you don't get a hit from it, don't be discouraged, right? Just don't give up on that property. Just keep doing as much as you can. Even if you got a JV with another wholesaler, do that. But like I said, don't give up on that property. Just keep pushing it.
Yeah, that's some good advice. Yeah, absolutely. You can't. It's not gonna be. There's most of the deals. It's not like cut and dry. Like some of it, you're gonna have hiccups. You're gonna have situations where you had that contract. You had that contract for what? 45 days?
Yeah, still ain't getting nothing.
Yeah, so you can't get discouraged, but you knew that you felt like you had a deal. Like this was a deal that you can make some money on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can't let that get you down. And like you said, don't be afraid to take action. The best advice that I got, and kind of what he touched on, is like, you don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going, because you're gonna be wasting time thinking you're gonna, like, how do I say it? Like Tom Crow says, progress, not perfection. You just got to get it going. You learn as you go, and then you go from there. Look what happened. You got that deal. So, all right. Where can people connect with you on, like, social media and stuff?
Oh yeah. So my Facebook is Teo Bullock. My Instagram is T Bullock BULLOCK JR. That's my Instagram. I'm not really on Twitter or anything like that. Those are my main two platforms I'm on is Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. I'll have the links below, guys.